tried to listen to as much Midnight Sedge as I could, but I was at lunch today with my husband, and then I went to go check out stuff for my own, channel setup, and I found some things that I'll probably invest in. I'll probably order them either today or this weekend sometime. And then hubby got himself a rowing machine, so we're setting up part of the basement as a workout area slash gun cleaning area, and then because that's where the safe is, and the rest of it's going to be the entertainment area slash Jeremy slash the bar. So anyway, that's what we were doing. So I missed a lot of stuff going on. I am going to say this right now. I'm on Bob Chapek's side. And the reason is this. Everything that's going on is stuff that should have been resolved. And Bob Iger knew that. And I think they may have even thought they were doing that. But it didn't get resolved. Now we've got Brian Lord, Billy Lord's dad, supposedly. Carrie Fisher's ex is her representative. I didn't know that. I'm not impressed. But I'm not impressed with that guy. Any guy that could turn around and say to a woman he just had a baby with that he's gay or bisexual or whatever is not, fuck you. That's all I can say. I don't like the guy. It's disgusting. And I think Carrie and Billy both deserve better from him, but that's just me. Anyway, there's something to this, and I think that there's more. There's something deeper here, and this is a new war, as Cameron told me. That this is Feige trying to protect his fiefdom, and he's worried. I think, probably with good reason, that once Chapek assumes power, that completely, that when it comes time for him to have to re-up his contract, he won't be welcome back. And I think that's part of it. And I think he doesn't like the idea that he's not being kept in the light as far as distribution is going. But I'm like, we need to have a conversation here. We need to have that conversation. So, let's pretend that there was no pandemic. Let's pretend it's 2018. Because I think that's when Captain Marvel came out. Let's pretend it's 2017 or whenever they were making that. Scarlett Johansson calls up Kevin and goes, which she should have done. Kevin, hi Scarlett, how are you? Question. Or maybe Brian Lord does this, and he probably should have. Why are you guys pushing so hard for Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, and my movie's sitting on the shelf? Black Widow has sat on the shelf for 5 years. Black Widow should have been released before Captain Marvel. Bottom line, that should be her bone of contention. Not they didn't pay me enough. Because pretty sure she's going to get money. And I'm pretty sure a judge is going to say, hey, you know what? They can't fill the theaters right now because there's still too many idiots afraid of the coof. Okay, afraid of the beer bug. So I just go, okay, fine. And that's what's probably going to happen. We won't, this time next week, we'll be talking about something else. Okay? Because I think that Disney's gonna offer her give her a deal she can't refuse, and they would be smart to do that. Give her $100 million. Do it. I'm sure Brian Lord and his boyfriend or whatever he's got would be pleased to get part of that. All right, because ultimately that's what's going on here. But what else? Feige part of this? I think the Business Insider article could be Feige, or it could be Iger, but it reads an awful lot like the Variety article, which screamed a plant by Bob Chapek. Okay. These guys are underestimating Chapek. They're stupid to do it, but they are. Why? He's already overseen them try to protect themselves. Kennedy, etc. That war is over, according to Cameron. He thinks that war is over. I agree with him. It bothers me that the guy that I think probably won it is getting shot at by another studio head who has a lot of hubris. I think Bob Chapek is probably the hero we need. I don't care if he's retail. Just a minute. Kojak! Kojak! Get over here. I think that, come on. Come. I think that Feige doesn't realize where he sits in the food chain. I think he takes his role as Marvel studio head far too seriously. He was a golden boy for a while, but look at the last three. Loki didn't do well. WandaVision underperformed. And then Black Widow crashed and burned, and they're already saying this movie wasn't going to reach its benchmarks. Okay, you're upset it went to streaming. Come on. She's upset they went to streaming with it, but they knew they weren't going to fill the seats at the theaters. All right, people are still too fucking scared to go to the movies. And there are countries out there that won't even open their fucking theaters, okay? Especially with this Delta variant, okay? You know, if I get sick, I get sick. Nothing I can do about it, all right? Meanwhile, we've got one of the nuns I talked to who is at a convent in Denver just said that they have a problem with Black Plague. Apparently, ground squirrels and prairie dogs are now carrying fleas and bacteria that carry the plague. So I'm like, okay, so we got that, but everyone's worried about a disease that you literally will get and then it'll go away. Okay, fine, whatever, I can, but let's not worry about something really bad. The plague, okay? So we got all that going on. And this looks to me partially as a money grab. Partially, when I looked at the article in the Business Insider, like I said, it could be any of those. Do I think Feige is at war? Yeah. Do I think he's bitten on way more than he can chew? Yeah. This is a guy who takes himself far too seriously. Doesn't realize where he sits in the food chain. Hey, Bone, and has decided that he doesn't want to be Kennedy'd. Look, if a CEO can't protect the investors, which is what it appears that Chapek is trying to do, then what's the point of him being there? Okay, You don't like it going from content to distribution. You should have thought about that when you're writing Admiral fucking Holdo and higher, faster, stronger Captain Marvel. That then Disney had to quietly shuffle the beans around so it made it look like it made $1 billion, and we all know it didn't. Let me tell you something. I don't think The Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion. Do you want to know why? Because I know Captain Marvel did. All right. And The Rise of Skywalker, hey, Age Boomer, had to make $1 billion for people to think it was successful. And no, it was not. Okay. And we know it barely limped across $1 billion line. Barely. How much did it cost to make and market? Then you think of everything else, and it probably came in under, in the red. Okay, I believe that. I do. I believe that. So, what I'm trying to say is I think Scarlett's people probably should have gone to Chapek's people, the Disney lawyers, and quietly. And it should have been handled quietly. I'm going to say this. I know a lot of people hate Disney. What are those people in Orlando that work at Disney? What are those people in Anaheim that work at Disney going to do if Disney goes under? Why don't you fucking think about that? Okay, before you start screaming, let it burn. All right, Bob Chapek isn't the guy at fault here. Okay, he's the one trying to clean up what Bob Iger made mess of. He's not the one that put Disney into debt. Bob Iger is. He is not the one that allowed Kathleen Kennedy to traipse across Star Wars and shit all over it. Bob Iger was. So why do you hate Bob Chapek? He comes in, we get The Mandalorian, we suddenly see Jon Favreau taking more power, we see Kennedy kind of being diminished, Kennedy fighting back, then being set in her place permanently, but somehow Chapek's a bad guy? I think you all need to think about that seriously, because he's got a tough road to hoe. Okay, Feige is the last real obstacle. And I'm going to say, Feige knows that the shows that he created just recently haven't done well. And he also knows that Captain Marvel didn't do well. And he should know that people may know things about him that may come out in the press because of this shit, if he is the one behind it. For all we know, Kathleen Kennedy is behind that Business Insider article. You know, Feige, of course, is scared that, the next contract he signs might be one where if his movies don't reach a certain benchmark, that, I'm watching my dog, right, want to talk to you guys, that he could be fired. And good reason. Good reason. I know why, and you know why. Bob Chapek is responsible to the investors and to the customers. And if the customers don't get what they want, the investors don't get paid. See, it's not that difficult. It's really not. Feige doesn't understand that because Feige is, just like everybody else in Hollywood, disconnected from reality. He will always get paid. Just like Scarlett got $20 million. I wish Disney would give me $20 million. I really do. I really do, because we put this place up for rent and build a fucking palace on a piece of nice land. Okay? And I think you're right. We have a problem in the fandom of really angry, emotional people that don't really understand what they're talking about. And I mean, there's a group of fans and a channel I won't have anything to do with. I'm not interested in what they say. I'm not interested in what they do. If there's ever an internecine war within the fan groups, it's always that channel's employees or people that are affiliated with it. Yeah, and you should be, and I push for reform. I push for basically what JPEG is doing right now, which is bottom line, we got to get to the customers what they want. Okay, now people honestly think that content is more important. We had that. We had that for all the time Iger was there. We got shitty live remakes of their animated stuff. We got the Star Wars sequel trilogy. We got Resistance. We got a bunch of crap. We got employees like Jennifer Heddle of Disney Books, who handles the Star Wars, calling Luke Skywalker a fucking moron in a tweet. Yes, I have that tweet, and yes, I just put it in a video recently. I like to remind people of their dumb behavior. Okay. In fact, I might collect all of the tweets that I've got saved over the years and do a musical interlude. Okay. Quality is everything. When you go to a distribution model, what you ask, what do the customers want? We want Luke Skywalker and Grogu. We want Mandalorian. And I personally like Bad Batch. I thought today's episode was, holy fuck. It was really intense. Okay. We want more, we want stuff that's not woke. We want stuff that is, we want a narrative, not a lecture. Okay. And we've gotten nothing but lectures since Iger took over. Okay. And, you know, everything that's been bad that's been going on, and I've said this for the last 10 years, has been Bob Iger. He's the one, again, that all the woke crap in Star Wars really happened under. He didn't take the necessary interest in what was going on at Lucasfilm on a day-to-day basis because he wasn't interested, because he thought Kennedy was doing a good job, because he couldn't be bothered. And when he heard, hey, Maze, and when he heard that the fans were pissed, he was like, well, why? You know, and then The Last Jedi happened. And he was like, holy shit, they hated this movie. You think? And oh, by the way, Bob, none of us really did like The Force Awakens. I'll give you the reason why The Force Awakens made $2.3 million. Harrison Ford. And the promise we'd see the three big guys together, and we did not. All right? You let that happen. You know, this is what happens when you buy a property you don't know anything about. I'm going to buy that horse over there because I think he's pretty. And I know that I'll be able to make a lot of money off his babies. Never rode the horse. Don't understand anything about his breeding. You know, he could be vicious. He could be mean. I'm going to buy him anyway. Go for it. Go for it. You buy that animal. 3 days later, you'll be back with that horse saying, I don't want him anymore. I had no idea what I was getting. Okay. I don't buy horses like that. I don't buy guns like that. I don't buy food like that, for crying out loud. Why the fuck, if you're Bob Iger, would you buy Lucasfilm without really thinking about what Star Wars was and what Lucasfilm does? And you're right, age boomer. So they get Lucasfilm and it makes, $2.3 billion, the first one. It's a shitty movie. It's a terribly written movie. The only good lines are the ones Harrison utters because he was, riffing. All right, he was basically saying what he wanted to say there, and they let him. He was ad-libbing. He had to. I mean, you got a writer and Larry Kasdan who was so fucking apathetic, and you could tell. You got a director who really didn't want to do it. I'm such a fan. The fuck you are. You got a story that is pathetic. You took something that was ginormous and shrunk it this big. This is a result of not knowing what the fuck you bought. Okay. Then Rogue One comes out and it does pretty well because it was a good movie. Okay, because people who liked it, like Star Wars, actually worked on it. Okay. Then you get to The Last Jedi. You let Kennedy do whatever she wants. You get Rian Johnson. He's literally writing the script before JJ rolled film on TFA. And he's in Marin County. He's with Pablo. Basically they're together trying to figure out how many different ways they can blow off Daffy Duck's beak at this point. Stealing fan fiction, trolling and fucking with the fans. TLJ comes out and everyone's like, and yeah, it made 1.3 billion. It made money. But that movie was the breaking point. All right, then we get Solo. And the combination of the backlash against Solo, because of TLJ, or the backlash against TLJ, awful Ehrenreich, a movie that, if they were going to make it, they didn't do anything worth seeing. It lost $250 million. And then Iger's like, gee, I wonder why. And then he tries to go in and fix what's wrong. What's wrong? You are never paying attention. I just bought this. This was the beginning of the true sequels to Return of the Jedi. Heir to the Empire. Timothy Zahn. And you got 2 more books. You get to see the birth of the Solo twins. Everything is moving accordingly. The character arcs of the 3 top characters are intact and growing still. But we get a complete de-evolution of the characters. Fine. Bob Iger wonders why. Bob Iger's an idiot. Howdy. Bob Iger is, I think, probably the worst CEO in Disney history. So he gets Takare, I know that, but that doesn't mean that was going to happen that way, okay? All right? I mean, he had a lot of things in mind for the original trilogy that never made it into the original trilogy. I think that's what you guys forget all the time. All the time. Again, this was the sequel trilogy. This was the beginning of the sequels to Return of the Jedi. Right? I don't think George would have passive-aggressively dumped on Grand Admiral Thrawn, because Grand Admiral Thrawn is one of the most popular characters in the Star Wars EU. All right? So you need that. And you could do stuff with the wills and everything and whatever. There are ways of changing stories. I mean, God, if you I mean, here's something, Dakare. You want to listen? When George first wrote Star Wars, Han was supposed to be basically look like a Trandoshan, a lizard. And the story was a hell of a lot different. And then he changed it. See, that's how that works. Okay? So, you guys say, yeah, but I say so. Jon Favreau and George Lucas are very much similar in I have an idea for a story, but they're not set in stone. Because if something doesn't work or doesn't feel right, or they could add something, or wow, that might be really cool to do too, they'll change it. Okay? So there you go. But what I'm saying right here is the person at fault here. And I actually think the person who may probably be behind this attack on Chapek and Business Insider, which is a woke rag, is Iger. Okay? The idea that they're going to a distribution model is not what he wanted. I don't care, Dakari. Who cares? This was, in everybody's mind, the sequel. Okay? Sorry to offend anybody out there. Okay? And I don't really like being argued with over bullshit. Okay? And that is. And if it is a hybrid, fine, because it would have been a hybrid anyway. There's no way you could turn this book into a movie front to back. Unless you turned it into a 20-hour miniseries like War and Remembrance. And if you're an American and and you saw that, you know what I'm talking about. All right? That book was over 1,000 pages long. And almost every fucking page of that book was up on the screen. All right? Most expensive miniseries in history and broke the miniseries as we know them. All right? But it was a good show. But anyway, so there's no way you can put you would ever get the pure heir to the empire. And I know all the EU purists will cry about no matter what happens. I just got into a debate with somebody on Midnight's Edge chat because they were attacking Favreau and Filoni. Pardon me, but fuck off. Okay, fuck off. What do you want? What do you want? Go put Joker makeup on and then, run around saying you want the world to burn because I don't know what you fucking want. Do you want Star Wars? They're giving you Star Wars. Mandalorian is fucking good. And everything else I got planned is fucking good and everything else that's coming out seems like it's going to be good. Bad Batch is fine. Okay, what do you want? Stop it. Fucking stop it. I don't want to see, Disney go down. I know a lot of people do. You're sick. Again, I'll go back. What are the people in Florida going to do that work there if Disney goes away? The parks get shut down. What are people in Anaheim going to do? What are people in Paris going to do? All right? You guys don't think about that, though. You don't think about the people, the people, the worker bees who do the special effects at LFL, at Industrial Lights and Magic. Because Disney goes down, they're in trouble. You don't think about them. All you think is about M-E-U. Star Wars. No, Echo 3. It failed because of Aaron Reich. A shitty script, apathetic direction, uh, uninterested producers, and TLJ. Okay? TLJ was the beginning. But I guarantee you, Aaron Reich himself cost them $100 million. All right. I also, I'm going to add this. I am beyond glad that Anthony Ingruber wasn't in that movie. And he should be glad too. All right. And the reason is this. Because that movie would have killed his career. All right. Sure, Aaron Reich is in a movie with a bunch of other people that, oh God, what is her name? Oh fuck, I can't remember the director's name, but she's crazy. Elizabeth Banks is making called Cocaine Bear. Big deal. Big deal. That guy can't carry a movie. You know, I sit back and look at him and I go, why would anybody think a guy like that could carry a movie? All right. He's not Leonardo DiCaprio. He's not Brad Pitt. He's not Matt McConaughey. All right. He's not any of those guys. He's not Bradley Cooper. He's definitely nothing like Harrison Ford. They hired him. They had an idea that didn't work because he was not the guy to play the character. You can't have an iconic character be played by someone who's the complete opposite of that character. You know, there's a reason why George said to Harrison, play a version of yourself. Carrie herself said, the character that Harrison played that is most like him is Han Solo. What are you going to do? It's not Indy. It's Han. Sorry, you know, and I think that one of the reasons why Harrison was uncomfortable with that character for a long time is because of that. And I'm not kidding you, okay? I'm really not. And I think it took being on TFA and watching basically the destruction going on around him to realize how much that character actually really meant to him. All right? I really think it did because, you know, the attitude has changed 180 degrees since that. I think he really realizes what he owed that moment that he signed on the dotted line to play Han in A New Hope. All right? But it's not just him. Everybody who was involved in those movies, in the OT, and even in the prequels has been done dirty. And it's not just Disney. Disney allowed it to happen because, again, they didn't know what they were getting into and buying. Echo 3, no, you're wrong. You're wrong, okay? Did you hear anything else I just said about that? I don't think he dislikes Han. I never thought he did. And I think he was uncomfortable with him. And I think when he saw what was going on TFA, he realized what he owed the character. And the attitude is 180 degrees. He realizes that he was wrong about it. Okay? I really fucking hate it when people just assume stuff. I'll repeat it again because I repeated it this morning. George Lucas said, and I see fans doing this all the time, not just about Ford, but about Carrie, attacking her over her drug use, about Mark, about George himself. They build a narrative you can't escape. So every time you say something that's out there in the ether, that the internet is saying, that's been said for decades about somebody, I want you to wonder, is that really true? Or is it the narrative that was built up around this person that they never really could fight against. All right, because George basically said that, you know, you know, and I don't care, okay, on that one, okay. But anyway, my husband just walked in. Thank you. Kojak, come on, man, leave Daddy alone. Lay down. You are being good. He's just whatever. So I think we really got to avoid making assumptions based on popular opinion until we know the full facts. I mean, I just got done watching 3 interviews with Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray. And it was about when Ghostbusters came out. And they were talking about John Belushi. And the thing that... Kojak, come here. The thing that Aykroyd said was that he was really disgusted with the book Wired because the book completely ignored what kind of a person John Belushi really was. Sit down. All right, put him in his house. And it really bothered Aykroyd that Bob Woodward only concentrated on the drug use and the wild, the gluttony, and all the rest of that stuff. It really bothered him a great deal, to be honest. And I really think that a lot of people just concentrate on the bad because it's easy. Okay, it's easy. And when we sit there and say, yeah, but blah blah blah, it's like that person over there said that, that person over there said that. That's been public opinion for decades, so therefore it's true. It's like, no, it's not. Okay, the truth of John Belushi is not that he died of a drug overdose, any more than the truth of Robin Williams was that he died of that he committed suicide. They were flawed human beings who were generous and talented and warm and fun and geniuses at what they did. Okay, and those are the things that people forget because they tend to look on the bad stuff. Okay, and when I think of the actors that were in Star Wars, Carrie Fisher, a lot of people don't bring up her sense of humor, her raw, sometimes really over the top, disgusting sense of humor. They don't bring out her defense of her friends, her talent, the fact that she was a genius writer. They bring up the fact that she had a problem with coke, heroin, and alcohol, that she basically, and they concentrate solely on her emotional issues. They don't care about anything else. And that's not what she was about. There's a great line in Sex and the City when a guy, Samantha she's got breast cancer. She's going through radiation. And a guy helping her get a wig says, I've worked with many women who have cancer. And she looks at him and says, I don't have cancer. I have a red carpet event. That's the way you gotta look at Carrie, okay? Everything else, all the bad, was something that was going on, but it wasn't who she was, all right? Mark, he spews a lot of stuff on Twitter about politics, and he's an idiot about it. But he, when we think good actor, obviously, talented voice actor, he kind of got screwed by Hollywood. The only person who I think, really gave him a chance after his accident was George. He smashed up his face, and you see how different he looks from A New Hope to The Empire Strikes Back. He doesn't look right. He didn't look right in Return of the Jedi. He didn't look the same. And I think a lot of people in Hollywood looked at him and said, we can't use him. He was in Amadeus on Broadway, and when they were making the movie, they gave the part to Tom Hulce. And Mark should have got it, but the reason why I didn't get it is because how does that translate on screen? All right. And that's too bad. That's too bad, but I think he wears that intensely. And I think a lot of the stuff, I mean, there was really no reason why he was never a big movie star but for that. And I think Harrison Ford sometimes feels a little guilty about that, because the person whose career got springboarded was Harrison's. Carrie was always going to be fine because she's Hollywood royalty. Her mother, Debbie Reynolds, okay? And, hey, General Katering, and she was going to be fine. And remember, you got to remember is that despite her popularity, she was young in an era where Farrah Fawcett, Cheryl Tiegs, Cheryl Ladd, all these big blonde model type actresses were popular then, okay? But she had so many other talents, she didn't need to be in front of the screen. And, she did character parts, and she did some, I think one silly sci-fi part that was like, I was like, what are you doing? But she's a great writer, and she was able to come in, and she's a script doctor and one of the best in the business. I mean, she's a smart lady. She was fine. But it was Mark who really, 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 I think, was the one that Hollywood screwed over. And I think Harrison Ford feels kind of guilty that he was the one that watched his career just springboard, and Mark really didn't. I mean, and was he in anything in the 80s? Because he kind of disappeared. And that's too bad. It really, really is too bad. But there you go. And that's what happened. But people really don't consider all those things. Like, I think Willie Atkins actually tried out for the part of Skywalker. Can you imagine? Wish. That just didn't make any sense. The whole cast was perfect. I mean, it was literally like, there's something about some movies that you get the right people together, it just works. And that's what happened. And I'm going to say this again. I think it was the same way in the prequels. I don't really see anybody else playing Anakin Skywalker other than Hayden Christensen. Padme Amidala, and then, you got Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon. It was fine. And of course, Ian McDiarmid comes back and reprises the Emperor. Excuse me, he was perfect. But again, we're going back to narrative. And when you have an actor, an actress, or somebody famous, like, the narrative is Donald Trump was in deep with the mafia. No, he wasn't. The mafia had a corner on concrete in New York. And the only way you could actually get your buildings built is by having to deal with those fuckers. Okay? And everybody who was a developer, a real estate person in New York City had to deal with the mob. Okay, and and that was just the way it was back in the 70s. Okay, it was a concrete cabal, is what it was. So there's a narrative crashed, and when you got Michael Franzese and Sammy the Bull basically saying the same thing, it's true. All right. Let's see. I'll give you another one. Somebody famous. Barack Obama is a victim of white racism. No, he's not. He's actually a person who pretends he is. He was raised by a white mom. He was, partially raised by white grandparents. He uses his skin color to beat everybody else over the head and make everybody feel guilty. Okay. The narrative is false on that, just like the narrative on Trump is false. And that's the bottom line. Okay. I'm sorry to tell you that, but there it is. There's the truth. Now, going back to what's going on with Disney, we can apply this to Disney. The narrative on Bob Iger is an ambitious guy who wanted to see Disney expand for what's good for the company. No, he wanted to see Disney expand under his leadership because it's all about him. He was obsessed with chasing Chinese box office, which they take everything but 20%. So again, if a movie, let's say like, TLJ makes $20 million in China, they get 20% of that. China took the rest of it. Not good. So why are we doing that? Okay, that's the real story. Another story. Bob Chapek is woke. Everything that's not woke that's happened in the last year has been under Chapek's watch. So how is he woke? All right. Scarlett Johansson is a victim. No, she's not. She got paid $20 million. And now she's being greedy. Now, granted, Disney might be in breach of their contract, but they also said she's getting money from the streaming. And she would get paid for that too. It makes you kind of wonder. I don't, and I'm going to say this, I don't think Feige is part of that, because I think that Feige is part of the problem with that. Or now maybe Feige doesn't like the distribution, that distribution is being taken away from him. I don't know, maybe that's why he's doing this, but it doesn't look to me like Kevin Feige is behind the lawsuit. And I think this lawsuit's going to go away as quickly as it appeared. And I think Emma Stone's lawsuit's dead on arrival. I think, Disney will just come and, bitch slap both. And give them money and they'll shut up and they'll go away. I really think that if you're an actress, I don't care who you are, and people can beat their chest about it, you don't take on the mouse like that. You just don't. The only people that can actually make the mouse kneel are the fans. Let the fans do what they do, right? You signed a contract. They're going to give you money. Go back over there and sit down then, okay? The fans are the ones who are going to make sure that eventually this gets sorted out, because guess what? We're not happy. Just know that if she doesn't, you can say goodbye to everything good happening at Star Wars, because it'll kill Chapek's job, okay? So you better fucking hope the bitch settles, okay? I have absolutely no empathy for her at all, and I never really have. First time I ever noticed her, she was in The Horse Whisperer. And I'm watching the movie and I'm like, this is literally the most annoying female I've ever seen in my life. No idea what she's doing with the horse either, by the way. None. Just completely clueless. So I'm watching it and I'm scratching my head. And I find her to be completely without, I just don't like her. I really, really don't. And this is just a way to hurt, I think, everything. Now, I know that the Lucasfilm war is over, but if someone else ends up as CEO, what the fuck is going to happen then? See, you got to think that way. Oh, I know, Krypton, and that's another thing. I mean, it's like I said, I wish somebody would give me $20 million to pretend to be somebody else for an hour or two. I'd do it. I would. I'd love to. All right? I mean, that woman made more money in this movie than my husband in 30 years in the Marine Corps. All 30 years. Far much more money. And that is sickening. That is absolutely fucking sickening to me. All right? And it should be sickening to all of you. And she's not a tenth. She doesn't have the tenth of the star power that the women back in the 80s and the actors back in the 80s did. All right? You know, when you thought about movie stars back in the 80s, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Harrison Ford. You know, and that's the way it was. And they made buku bucks, but they were absolutely worth it. Actresses the same way. Meg Ryan, Meryl Streep. Now, they bitch and moan that they didn't get paid a lot the same, but I don't see Meryl Streep doing her own stunts in movies either. I mean, you know, I can't imagine her getting on a thing and being dragged behind a truck. Okay, I mean, you know, if they're in a movie like Glengarry Glen Ross, then everybody should be paid the same. But if you're in a movie like Romancing the Stone, well, Kathleen Turner did go through a lot of shit in that, so maybe. Oh, I know she did. And, you know, too bad, so sad. But again, she might have carried the franchise. But when people thought movie stars, they thought the guys, not the women. Okay. And, you know, then you got Scarlett making $20 million on a movie that bombed. And she's bitching and moaning about it. And she's got her agent at CAA, Brian Lord. Carrie, what were you thinking? Ick. I'm sorry, Billy, but I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't, you know, him, you know, you don't take on the mouse. You let the fans do that. The reason why is because we're not happy. We don't buy the tickets. Disney doesn't get the money. The investors don't get paid. This is how this works. You make the customers happy, and then the investors are happy. If I'm not happy as a customer, the investors aren't happy, and that's it. Okay, that's where this is going to change. Now, I am on Bob Chapek's side because he's the only one that seems to give a shit about getting the company right. It was the Business Insider. And I don't think, if it was one of the higher ups, Dakare, it could have been Iger, because I think he's pissed off that his, you know, that he's basically everything he's done is being rewritten. And I gotta say this. Feige is afraid, and you don't strike at somebody out of strength. This is what you do when you're weak. Feige is afraid that when his contract comes up, he won't be back, and he's afraid that Chapek will be able to fire him anytime he wants, which is the right and noble. I mean, why shouldn't a CEO have that right? You know, think of all the problems that would have been solved if Kennedy would have been gone in 2018. All right, or if she'd have been gone after Rogue One, after all the crap that went down. Even if Rogue One was good, shown the door. Think about that. All the stuff that was avoided, the fan backlash. I mean, Mazuris brought up Ryan Johnson with the basically preemptive trolling of the fans, the Steele Saunders stickers saying, "Your Snoke theory sucks." Why would anybody make a sticker like that? And that's going on, and somebody within Disney should have alerted Iger, hey, Lucasfilm has a bunch of people in there, including the director of this movie, harassing the fans. And this isn't good for our bottom line. They would have been able to fix it because he would have stepped in and said, no, this is not happening anymore. You will stop doing this. You will get off of Twitter or you're fired. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And it took Solo losing $250 million for Pablo to go away for a while, and then he came back. And then now he's half back and half gone. All right. I am what I think is so funny, and there might be something to this Iger idea, not necessarily Feige, that the Disney quarter earnings report is coming out in August, soon, in a few days. This gets dumped out there. And I'm worried that the Wokistanians are planning a coup because they don't want to see all the bullshit they created gone. Okay, that's what I'm afraid of. I like Chapek. He comes off as a no-nonsense guy. He looks like a CEO. He looks like a guy that would eat gravel. He's a big, burly-looking badass. And, I think he's way smarter than people give him credit for. And I think that he's probably the guy that Disney needs. They need someone who's down to earth and get shit done. And if you notice people that are leaving, Alan Horn, with Iger, Braverman, Mooch, etc. Yeah, you're right, Maze. And I really think that Chapek needs Feige gone. Let me explain why, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Kevin Feige drank the Kool-Aid. Kevin Feige also probably has some interesting little personal issues going on. Again, if I was Scarlett Johansson, I would be asking Brian Lord and my lawyers, why did Brie Larson's movie get put out in 2018 and mine didn't? And mine was already done. They didn't even have to make Captain Marvel. I want you guys to think about that. Want you to think about why. I have a good idea. I have a really good idea. And we might be seeing those things coming out in the news. Okay? Because I think Iger has a Me Too issue. I know he does. I haven't heard what they are, but I think Kathleen Kennedy has a Me Too issue. She's got some weird stuff going on. Oh, he's being good. And I think Feige has one too. Why do I think that? Why did Brie Larson get the part of Marvel? She wasn't the best one for it. Why did the movie get made? Why was it pushed by Kevin Feige? I want you to think about that. I know why. I said it before. And I think that if Bob Chapek really wanted to stick the knife in, he would bring that up somewhere, somehow. Again, what bothers me is I don't want to see somebody new come in. And this is, what's going on at Disney is bullshit. Just do your jobs and shut up. And quit, this internecine warfare. Your only job is to make money, to make the investors happy. That's it. All right, so make good content, make the customers happy, then the investors will be happy and everybody will be happy. All right? And if you don't love what you're doing, then get a different job. All right, go somewhere else. I mean, I don't understand, but again, I don't understand a lot of things. But yeah, I honestly think that it would behoove Bob Chapek to get down to the nitty gritty about what Feige is all about. And to get down to the nitty gritty about if the war between the Bobs is really going on, to figure out what Bob Iger is all about. Oh, I know what he's all about. He's about Bob Iger. But wouldn't it be delicious to see a Me Too thing come out about him? And about Kevin Feige? And maybe rumors out in the press about him and Brie Larson? I mean, because the only reason why Captain Marvel was put on the fast track, made and marketed and put out there when Black Widow was sitting on the shelf rotting. I don't got anything to add to that. You all know. You all know. Okay? And it's really weird how suddenly Brie sort of has disappeared from all of it. Oh God, gross. Yeah, you gross me out too. Anyway, I gotta go. If you haven't seen Bad Batch, episode 14, it was really good. And it was kind of a holy shit moment at the end. A lot of shit went down. So this is Steph. Stay out.